Try this one, good song. In the field of physics, there's the laws of cause and effect. For example, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. You can use math formulas to figure it all out. In Wikipedia, however, they screw it all up by throwing in Metaphysics of Immanuel Kant. What a dumbass he is. Metaphysics means not physical, which means not real. I wonder where we could have gotten that from. Right, Christians? The first creed of Christianity created the first metaphysical Jesus. And so, as a result, Christians are creating metaphysical realities to claim that their church is true. For example, a month ago, there's a YouTube video that says that there is a mysterious phenomenon that occurred at Pope Benedict's funeral. Therefore, the Catholic Church is true. I saw Jesus in my toast, therefore the Christian Church is true. Or is it the Mormon Church? If you're familiar with any of this in Christianity, they're all red herrings or non sequiturs. Just because the one thing happened doesn't mean that the church is true. It's a false equivalency. You can't claim that the one leads to the other, or the one is connected to the other. Thus, it's not a cause and effect. And if you are a Mormon and you think, no, it can happen. Oh my God, do you not even believe your Book of Mormon, let alone read it? Alma, chapter 12. Even Bruce R. McConkie knew it. Because Bruce R. McConkie adds beliefs. And that's actually the effect. But nonetheless. He puts in the chapter heading, men are judged by their thoughts, beliefs. Look for beliefs in this chapter. I dare you to find it. Words and works. Okay? And so, if you get a seed, what is the effect of a seed? Well, it dies if you do nothing with it. You have to do something to the seed in order to produce fruit or an effect. And so it requires that a human being believe first. And you have to plant it and let it grow. Now, in nature, if a human being is not involved, seeds in the wild will fall off and end up in the soil and produce more of the wild grain or whatever it is that the seed is, even if it's weeds. But it's a cause and effect condition. Physics. Reality. We can see the results, the effects. So there's a cause and effect. If you refuse to plant the seed, you'll never experience the effect. And so, Mormons believe the Book of Mormon is literal history true, which is not a causation, it's an effect. From causation of the belief that the Word, another testament of Jesus Christ, is true. Precepts. words. That is the first causation, is that belief in the word and proceeding to act on it is the first cause. And the results will determine whether the word is true or false by the effect that is automatically produced. You cannot manipulate the effect. You can't say that it's another testament of Jesus Christ and then claim it's the Islamic Allah. Another testament of Jesus Christ means the Christian Jesus, with a Mormon twist, a different nature and character, non-Trinitarian. And so, there's this thing called science, which is involved in cause and effect, and it actually looks at the word without a biased belief to be imposed on it. It examines the reality, the five physical senses. It develops a logical-based Socratic methodology into a theory to be tested for factual truth. And so, linguistic science has found that the Book of Mormon contains over 3 dozen different plagiarized contemporary works, words. And so how can it be another testament of Jesus Christ, of literal history, and yet also have over 3 dozen different contemporary works within the Book of Mormon? And Sidney Rigdon's the major author of the Book of Mormon. And Joseph Smith Sr. is the major author of the rewritten 116 pages. See, Mormons, rather than accepting science, have to go on the attack and say that science isn't true, that their beliefs must be true. And so they lie and deny. Thus, like Christians, create effects that have no causation, or that the causation has already been confirmed as false. And Mormons just keep on going and ignore it, just like a Christian, just like Islamists. And this becomes very dangerous when all of these Jesus religions all claim that Jesus is telling them to hurt people, to murder them. Very sad. And so I don't know if you noticed that IVF has been banned by our Congress. And the Lincoln Project put out another ad about a poor woman who was trying to have a baby, and now she's a criminal trying to flee across the border, and the border guards got her and shot her, and now she's dead. Murdered the embryos. I thought they were against abortion. And then murdered the mother. See, they lie. Their real motive is to murder mankind. And you're still going to vote for Trump, aren't you? You're still going to allow Project 2025 to take effect, aren't you? Did you know it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who is the cause of Project 2025? I've already done all the videos. I've done the investigation. The church is in charge of the secret combination of America, the Council for National Policy, and the Council for National Policy has a number of members that are required to act when the church orders them to act, and they all have their special little part. Project 2025 was by the members who were a part of the Heritage Foundation. Thus, why the church's principles, doctrines, commandments are in Project 2025. Cause and effect. That's what science investigation does. And so I thought it was very curious that because of AI is not intelligent. It literally is stupid. It's unintelligent. It's a fraud. It's a consumer fraud. And they're only pushing it because the ones who created it are making a lot of money off of it right now. And yet, when it was first rolled out, still even to this day, we're seeing that AI is criminal, not just evil and wrong. And nobody's stopping it because it's big bucks. And so, yeah, I've told you about how I ran the test. If it is intelligent, it is able to take the Book of Mormon with the imposed effects of another testament of Jesus Christ, and Jesus being in 3 Nephi 11, and knowing the information of the creation of Christianity with the first creed, knowing as an intelligent artificial that the creation of Christianity wasn't until 325 CE. Therefore, any claims in that document to the Bible being literal history are automatically false, because it's not literal history until the creation of Christianity with the first creed. Basic, simple stuff. Thus, a second coming of Jesus is only for this false causation of the creation of Christianity with the first creed. Because you've turned the Jewish scriptures into literal history now. And now you're claiming that the Jews murdered Jesus, and that Jesus, having failed to save the Jews, is going to come in the future. That's not what the original documents are talking about. It's only because of Christianity and that first creed with Constantine, the metaphysical Jesus. You just have to believe. Don't produce the effect. Unless you are purposely causing activities that lead to an effect and then claim it's Jesus who's the causation rather than admitting that it was you. Jesus told me to hurt you. And so thus the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a complete and utter fraud. Real basic, simple stuff. All they're doing is saying that the nature and character in that first creed of Christianity is wrong, but everything else is correct. And so an artificial intelligence should be able to know about these factual historical things and not be stupid enough to to claim that the Book of Mormon is Christian and that Mormonism is Christian. And yet, it's what AI is doing. And so it's abusive for a Mormon to attack me. And they do it anyway. They're not listening this far into the video. They don't care to. Mormons believe in the false seed, the false causation created by Brigham Young. And they refuse to produce the effects to know that it's false. But the consequences still take effect to prove that it's false. And Mormons just deny it. Say, well, Jesus. And it's a setup because you're eventually going to have a faith crisis. But you don't care. It won't happen to you. You just have to reinforce your faith. So the Christian that I did the video that exposed this church as criminal behind all of the coup for America, not just the Project 2025, everything. If you see that membership list in the Council for National Policy, you literally would shake in horror, because it goes all the way back to 1981. The little clip by Kimball that I did, where he's trying to take away non-Mormons' agency, insulting them, bullying and abusing them, saying they're not normal. Only normal people have sex and marriage only. And the church is even more extremist than that, because we believe that if you're not sealed in a Mormon temple, your marriage is like not being married at all. And thus, everyone who doesn't join the church is not normal. Kimball at the pulpit of conference turned humans into the other so that he could bully them and abuse them at the pulpit of conference. And that instilled in Mormons an effect to now be the cause of mean, abusive attacks on those who do not accept Mormonism. It's not just sex abuse. So this Christian, this Mormon posing as a Christian, came out with a video yesterday too. Saying that the newest Liahona article I had an article of President Nelson's, and he's advertising it as big warnings in President Nelson's Liahona article ahead of General Conference. So I'm more interested in this counterculture psychedelic research commune by Vice News, or Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck, or House MD's episode clip of breast augmentation, or listening. I am not familiar with that AC/DC song. I'm familiar with Ball Breaker album, Caught with Your Pants Down. I'll have to listen to that maybe. Of course, there's some other music here that I'm not familiar with. Reb Beach and the Bad Boys, Headed for a Heartbreak. Cover band. And And then apparently YouTube wants me to check out Snow Strippers, Tragic Surprise. It's a song. That's the name of their band, Snow Strippers. The picture looks cool. But nope, I have to try to save your lives. So it's a pattern for unity of Jesus Christ, in Jesus Christ. A pattern of unity. Put all the pieces of the puzzle together as it's loading. Yes, I downloaded it. As we unite in Jesus Christ, like the people in 4th Nephi, our desire to be one supersedes our differences and leads to happiness. Cause and effect. He's a medical doctor, surgeon. He knows very well about cause and effect. He murdered people on his table. Like the 2 girls, and then used that to extort the father later on in life, after the mother was dead, to have him pay the church, holding his daughters ransom who are dead because of Nelson. That was just abusive to God. Do you not see this? We've already established the fact the church isn't true. And so Nelson is using this falsehood to recruit people into the church. He even talked about being a child doing this abusive tactic by the influence of this church as a kid. When he went into the wine cellar and destroyed his daddy's wine collection, he took away his dad's agency. Dad's not a Mormon, doesn't want to participate in Mormonism. But Nelson was forcing his dad to be Mormon and destroyed his whole wine collection. Nelson looks back on that and says, well, it was for his own good. That's Lucifer's argument. And they named him Lucifer. That's weird. Sure, that's just a coincidence, not a fulfillment of Book of Mormon prophecy, because the Book of Mormon is literal history about real Jesus. After correcting the first creed of Christianity. Cause and effect. And so this falsehood carried through with Nelson. Anyway. I get caught up in tangents. Because nothing's written down. There is no script. So where was it? Covenants, obedience, meeting together, love, be one. Divine identity. It was just a simple line. And I should have found it first before starting this video. followers of Jesus will unite around the Lord. This begins the journey of conversion. They were baptized. Because all this is talking about it, but he then set a line. Count, no contentions. They all had things in common in our temporal dealings. The Lord has also commanded us to care for the poor and the needy. Oh my. The audacity of him to say that. Esteem his brother as himself. The next lesson comes from a simple expression. The Lord had taught his people his doctrine, given them commandments, and called them servants. Sure that there would be no disputation. Obedience to the teachings of the Lord and his servants is essential in our becoming unified. Sort of, I don't think that was it. It was joining the church to be unified. But there you see, obedience unifies. No. This is taking away agency, is what he's talking about there. Forcing other people to believe with threats of violence or punishments of some kind. Our commitment. We need to meet together. Other gatherings. Come on. It's pissing me off and I'm taking up time. There is room for everyone. We may differ in our cultures, politics, ethnicities, tastes, and many other ways. But as we unite in Jesus Christ, such differences fade in their significance and are superseded by our overriding desire to be one, so that we may be his. You do understand, Jesus is not real. As we unite in a falsehood, we become one. Brainwashed. You are not free agency. You are not free agents. You have to obey. You have to accept Jesus as real and be one. This is pure evil. Man, that was an awesome quote when I saw it before I downloaded it. I can't find it now. Crap. So I'm stopping the video and I'm going to see if I can find it. If not, I'll just continue on in utter humiliation. Found it. It's at the top. It's in the opening intro. And so he talks about how we live in an age when a surging tide of discord and disputation is spreading across the globe. Who's the cause of that? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the cause of that. Sending out missionaries all over the world saying the Book of Mormon is literal history true about Jesus. Joseph Smith saw Jesus. Lying that it's supposed to be about a Jewish religion, a Jewish Christ. But he's turning others into the other. continuing that prophetic abuse. Aided by technology and abetted by people whose hearts have waxed cold. Join our church or die? Yeah, that's pretty cold. These divisive forces threaten to fill our hearts with contempt and corrupt our communication with contention. Communal ties are breaking. Wars are raging. Now that we're into conference time, I'm getting a lot of views. YouTube is unable to stop it. And so, Mormons come to one video, finally, after all these years and 8,000 videos, and they're doing exactly what Nelson says the others are doing. That Mormons are united in Jesus as a member, and yet they're doing this corrupt communication with contention. Because as a critic, they see me as the enemy. And so they would have no problems murdering me. One of my apostles says that they're trying to kill him. Really? For preaching the Jewish Christ? Or is it something else you did? What did you do? There is a difference. Mormons generally being murderous because of this causation of falsehood versus telling Mormons that their religion is a fraud and they're supposed to be Jewish, and refusing to accept the truth and continuing with the denialism to be the enemy, to murder people, claiming it's Jesus telling them to murder people to protect the church. Big difference. Against this backdrop, true followers of Jesus Christ, true Mormons of the Danites, see how this is still in our Mormon culture after 200 years. The Danite seed is still evident in Mormonism. Yearns for peace and actively seeks to build a different kind of society, taking away agency. The church is obsessed with the others in the world who will not obey this church and are seeking to subject everyone to this church. Project 2025 is the latest attempt to do this. If they can succeed in getting Trump into the presidency. And not a single MAGA follower of Trump will ever read Project 2025 because they don't care. But they will care once it starts to affect them. Then they're going to go, hey, what are you doing to me? I'm MAGA. Sorry, it's the law. You do believe in Trump, don't you? Well, yeah, but this is for Trump's glory. Yeah, but And so, yeah, you saw this after the 2020 election and the January 6th vacationers smearing poop on the walls of the Capitol. You see a lot of Republicans saying, this is too extreme for me, I'm out. And then they get called sensitive snowflakes by the poop smearers. They want to hang them, like Mike Pence. And so, yeah, they're called Democrats. Name called. And as a result, these people don't see what they're doing, that it's all the church. Everybody's being forced into the church. And they don't get it. See, Trump, he's all about porn. But he has assurances that despite Project 2025 going into action, he will still be allowed to watch his porn and keep his loomer. So you don't see the dangers that are coming. All of it is designed to destroy. There's a difference between preventing criminal behavior, which is taking away agency of others, life, liberty, and property. That is not justice. Justice punishes with the deprivations of life, liberty, and property in accordance to punishment for your crimes to others. You have committed crimes to others, now you have to be penalized equal to the punishment of the crime you committed. If our justice system would be fair and just, we wouldn't have any issues, but clearly our justice system has failed us. But nonetheless. And so this attempt by Nelson is not to have a society where same believers like the Amish can live and believe as one. Nelson is talking about changing others to conform so that Mormons can go anywhere in the world and be safe. That's what they're doing here in Utah, in case you didn't know. In case you've been living under a rock in Utah, you had no clue that the Mormons in the legislature are passing laws based on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to take away your agency, to murder you if you are not loyal. Anyway, a different kind of society, one that is founded on the teachings of Jesus Christ. What are those teachings? Love. Don't take away the agency of others. Have you never even read your Bible? Dear God. And yet, Christians with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are imposing Jesus on everybody. That wasn't Jesus' way. Jesus would go and people would follow and want to hear from him. The Pharisees didn't want to hear from him. And so, Jesus didn't go to the Pharisees and said, "Obey me." It was the Pharisees who came after Jesus to say, "Obey us." Did you miss that part? And so when they attack Jesus, Jesus responds by confounding them. Ye hypocrites, you blind guides, you whitewashed sepulchres. Jesus does not go on the offensive, ever. He teaches those who want to learn. YouTube is set up for that. And yet, Mormons want to behave like a Pharisee and attack critics of the church. Me. We're not a threat to the church. I am. The others aren't. Because the others are not factoring in truth. Jewish. Ex-foes can't be true if you're still using false premises in your arguments. Just because you know some facts that prove the church is false doesn't mean you can conclude. You have to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And you didn't do that. And let's see. How do we work against the forces of division and contention? How do we achieve unity? Fascism. Fortunately, 4th Nephi in the Book of Mormon gives us an example. Not what? Fascism? No. This chapter briefly records the way the people lived after the Savior had visited them, taught them, and established his church among them. There will be unity when you join the church. You see the connection? This is literally the doctrine of Lucifer. Not just from our scriptures, but from the very mouth of Lucifer prophesied himself. This is an evil doctrine he is presenting here. Mormons will be one when they are loyal and obedient to this church. Those in the world will stop the warfare, stop the contentions, stop social media when they join this church. And as you know, the church is very opposed to women, especially when they're naked, saying that nudity is the most vile of abominations ever conceived of, far beyond murder. Even though that's Lucifer's plan. But is a woman who is naked, is she taking away somebody's life? No. Cause and effect, remember? A naked woman does not cause blindness, does not cause addiction, does not cause death. Is she holding people hostage? No. She is not taking away someone's liberty. There is no addiction. There is no harm. She is not holding anyone hostage simply by being naked. Is she stealing your property? Life, liberty, property? Nope. What about Article of Faith number 13? Is she beautiful, lovely, of good report, and praiseworthy? Yeah. So what are we supposed to do then? But people don't have to go around naked. I'm not going to go around naked. There's no way I want other people to see my naked body. I don't even want to see my naked body. But that's the whole point. I shouldn't be forced to be clothed or naked. But other people, likewise, shouldn't be forced to see me naked or clothed. This is the whole point that nobody's getting. Everybody is creating crime where there isn't a crime. The Church of Jesus Christ, by vilifying pornography, is creating a crime that isn't there. And it's called idolatry, where you turn an object into a moral evil. That it's demonic and possessed and can possess humans and cause harm. That's idol worship. And so we have a system with our technology set up where people who want to show their bodies can show their bodies, and people who don't want to see them show their bodies don't have to watch it. So that we can all live in peace together. But this church has to take away agency. YouTube has to take away agency. The new CEO since last year has his family origins from India, which has the oldest porn book, Sex Education, the Kama Sutra. And yet, since his takeover, women's channels on YouTube are disappearing. Because YouTube has community guidelines saying that sex and nudity is wrong. No. They're on their own channel. There is no crime in it. You are choosing a moral, religious code and enforcing it on others. You're taking away agency. Lucifer's plan of happiness from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are committing the crime. You are taking away life, liberty, and property. Bullies who abuse and verbally attack other people with lies and threats and insults. That's not religious freedom. That's not free speech. You are threatening the life, liberty, and property of another with your words. And so you're seeing this in the news as the MAGA, who are the bullying abusers, are trying to flip the script with the false flag of Trump. Reuters now has added to the news saying there were no shots fired. No shots fired. The guy was apparently just hanging out far away. And all of a sudden there's an FBI video of his takedown, getting arrested. What crime did he commit? If he wasn't shooting, what crime did he commit? Well, if he had a weapon and he didn't have a license to carry, and Florida doesn't allow even a concealed carry or an open carry permit, yeah, he committed a crime then. But if those are allowed, because apparently you got alligators to deal with down there in Florida. Everybody has to be packing. But nonetheless, if he didn't fire, then there was no assassination attempt on Trump. Again. See, Trump didn't get shot in the first one. Remember? He's a quick healer. It was an AR-15, wasn't it? Yeah, that would have blown off his ear. Trump would never have an ear ever again. If they were able to find the piece and reattach it, he would have a scar. There's nothing there. So what the hell was the blood? Well, if you've never watched a WWE match, Hulk Hogan, remember? Vince McMahon, whose wife also appeared at the convention, because Vince is in trouble with the law. You would know about blood packs. That they make it appear as if they've been wounded by putting fake blood on them. So here we go again. No shots fired, and a guy's getting arrested for an assassination attempt on Trump with no shots fired. Canada and Reuters have now joined in to report no shots fired. There is no cause, but the effect is a lie. An assassination attempt on Trump. And CNN and others are, and Fox especially, interviewing Trump's golf buddy. Other people getting interviewed for their emotional responses, their effects of the word of the second assassination attempt. And they're blaming Harris for her words of violence, invoking violence. You're being distracted away from the cause and effect. What happened in the first assassination? Who died? Why didn't they investigate that? Why didn't they investigate a causal connection between the so-called shooter and the one who died? They're not doing it. They're not investigating it. But what did happen with the false effect? The director of the Secret Service is fired. Hey, Trump used to have a show about where he had his catchphrase, "You're fired." Trump has to deal with Secret Service agents on a regular daily basis. Starting to see what's going on here? This is the same thing that Nelson and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have been pulling on you. To deceive you, to divert you away with a falsehood, so that your causes and effects are based on the falsehood cause and effects of this church. That is what's causing the communication of contention, the corrupt communication of contention. None of this is true. Jesus isn't real. Because of the first cause that created Jesus as metaphysical. Consubstantial in Wikipedia. Without substance. It's all right there in the Book of Mormon for you. Kind of learn the truth. Corrected the lies that the church and the world have been teaching you because of Constantine. You make your choices. You are the primary cause. You can't blame the church because you didn't bother to study. Real easy breezy cover girl stuff. So, let's see if I can find you. So in my video exposing the Danites, naughty sister missionary, she leaked it because she doesn't know that the church is evil. She doesn't know that the church is lying to her about Jesus. She's just a girl, a kid. She hasn't had time to study her scriptures. And so Jan Griffiths responded with, "No wonder you don't have many views. When you finish laughing at yourself, you don't have a lot to say." Cause and effect does not equate. My not having enough views has nothing to do with not having a lot to say, because people don't know that until they watch the video. People don't have this metaphysical feeling. I bet he doesn't have anything to say. It's just, oh my God. And she didn't even bother to listen to it, because I do have a lot to say. The picture alone. Dear God, Jan. See what the church has done to her? She's a member of the church, and yet her communication of whatever it was. Communication of contention. Based on Jesus. This is the effect of believing in Jesus. This was an ad populum mixed with an ad hominem attack. And it's weird, it doesn't make sense. And yet, she thinks the church is true, so therefore, whatever she says is true. This was abusive. YouTube didn't stop her. She's trying to take away my freedom of speech by insulting me, by debasing me, based on what YouTube has done to me. People want to watch my videos. It's being very obvious right now. This is normal viewing for me throughout the year. As we get closer to conference, it's going to increase, assuming all things are going to be continuing to be equal. As long as YouTube's algorithms leave me alone. People see my videos as something new, and they want to see what it's all about. But YouTube, after all these years, purposely did not want people to learn my information. And so, stupid people come to one video, didn't even bother to listen to it. All because she believes in Jesus, and I don't. So she's trying to force my agency to believe in Jesus. She's insulting me to stop posting videos, to deny my freedom of speech, when I have my own separate channel. She didn't have to come to my channel. She could have clicked on it. Well, she did click on it. But if she didn't like it or agree with it, all she had to do was leave. But she went out of her way to make a hate comment, to threaten me, of which YouTube did nothing to stop her. And I don't have a lot to say. How long was that video again? Naughty Sister Missionary. 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 39 seconds. She's not making any sense. Now, I've had 2 failed marriages, so I've learned a few things about women. That women don't tell the truth. They don't use actual English grammar. They say stuff, but that's not what they mean. Case in point. I don't have a lot to say for a 2-hour video. Obviously, that's not what she means. Hilarious. And so again, every single Mormon has been brainwashed by not understanding the threat that Oakes had secretly told to these missionaries in Vegas on March 14th, 2020. This Mormon who put it out 4 years later, finding out about it from that sister missionary. He does not know what happened during that time frame. He's not putting it into context. He's putting it into his created context. He is creating an effect that has no causality. And so when Nelson or Oakes says, this is not the end of the world, but merely a test. She thinks he's a living prophet of Jesus. She thinks that it is a test from Jesus, preparing her for Jesus' second coming. Clueless that when she gives the first vision discussion to people in Las Vegas, she doesn't understand what Joseph is talking about in verse 19. That Joseph is saying there is no second coming. There is no Jesus. There is no literal history of the Bible, and thus not the Book of Mormon. Because it was 1838 when he gives this vision. It wasn't literal history either. And so, yes, Oakes is preying upon these missionaries for their ignorance that he himself has been a cause of, with all the other prophets and apostles over her lifetime, and her parents' lifetime, and her grandparents' lifetime, until the first convert into the church, whether she goes all the way back to the pioneers or not, whether she's a direct descendant from the Danites or not. There is a causal factor. That's why I teach you about studying church history. George Reynolds was the guy I was trying to figure out yesterday. When you come across an individual from church history and you want to research them, that's what you check for. His connection or her connection to the Danites. The Danites are already established fact by me. And that's what I'm hoping you too will do. Will establish facts so that you will not be deceived. That's why I did the whole playlist with that specific title. And you don't care. You have failed your test when you cling to Christian Jesus, the falsehood, the big lie. And that's what those Danites did. They purposely, maliciously lied under the name of Jesus. They knew they were lying. They were purposely justifying their lies with Jesus as their cover. And still to this day, Mormons are doing the exact same thing. Intentionally, maliciously lying under the guise of Jesus. Preying upon stupid people who do not do their research to know the facts that Jesus is a fraud. And when you say Constantine, First Creed, all of a sudden they get triggered. They get angry. They start to threaten you. Jews will not replace us. You replace the Jews. You are threatening people to accept your beliefs that are false. You're a knee whore. You're a Korah whore. As a Mormon. You never learn from the Book of Mormon. You do not believe it. And you continue to spread lies about it. So, again, I'm not doing quick videos to boost my views.